That took a little bit.
Good.
Here I am. Sorry about that.
Sorry for the delay, everybody.
Oh.
Now I can send my tweet now that you're on.
Okay. Sorry. I think I was in the wrong one because it was just flashing your face, your picture, but not you.
No, that's why I sent you the other link, because when I went to go on it, it kind of removed itself. But I'm excited to have you now. We have you on, and we're good to go. So, and I did put a link on the other one telling people if they went there to go to this one.
Okay.
And, so let's hear a little bit about who is Jenny McKeag from Empowering Women to Succeed.
All right. What would you like to know?
Well, we would like to know what made you even become an author and an editor and writer, professional writer, and an awakening coach, and you're all kinds of wonderful things. So what brought you to that place?
You know, what brought me to that place is just a burning desire to live my passions. I think once I got to a place where I knew what those were, it was inevitable that that's what I was going to do. So,
Nice.
Yeah, so that's really is what brought me to do what I do professionally. And I mean, it also has a huge impact on my life too. So that's in how I lead my life and, you know, in the way I am as a person and my beliefs around the importance of sharing story and connection of people and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, perfect. And so how do you help people right now with your business? Like, what exactly do you focus on?
Right now, the biggest way that I help people is I can help to connect them with the words. That's been something that since I've connected with that as my own drive and passion and a deeper connection and a way of connecting people with words. Now I've learned techniques that I can actually support other people to easily connecting with words in writing. I mean, the same things apply even in speaking, but particularly in writing, so that whether it's for a marketing copy or I'm seeing these little things pop up. My first job. Oh, I should have been outside. I'm sitting right next to outside.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it so I don't look like I'm in the darkness. So. Okay. And so you help people to write all kinds of things. It's not just about book writing, because we use communication everywhere, right?
You're absolutely right. And so the techniques that I use, it connects people with empowering way to get whatever technique the message is meant to reach the masses. And for a lot of entrepreneurs and soul, they do have a really powerful message. And so, yeah, of course, every way we communicate, whether it's an email, whether it's marketing copy, you know, content that's going to support people in order to get the services, the products, the things that they need. And I really, the techniques I use work across the board. Actually, yeah, you can help people with. I didn't realize someone came to me for professional writing support and mentorship, and then writing a series of children's books. So it's whatever connects people with the message and that they need to share, whether it be as an entrepreneur, as a writer, as an author, across the board, really, because words are powerful. And so, yeah, that's it.
So why would someone reach out to you? What would be the purpose? Like, where would I be in my business or my life where I would think I needed to reach out to you?
you would be at a place where you know that you're ready for expansion on some level. And that can be on a growth, on a personal level, because if you have a desire, for example, I have someone who reached out just yesterday and said, I have a dream of writing. She does really well professionally and everything like that, but she's got this burning desire to be writing a book. So someone who wants to step into what that means, to do it in a way that's fluid in their life. Someone might reach out to me as well who might be ready for growth or expansion in their business, in terms of reaching more people, breaking through the ceiling. And they want to know, okay, how do I get my message out in a really strategic way, in a really powerful way, with words that will connect with the people who need what I have to offer. So, so I'm not sure if that's answering the question, because it's a narrow spectrum, but in some ways it's a broad spectrum as well, in terms of, I get surprised sometimes by the people who reach out to me, but basically they have a deep yearning to share on a bigger level.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Because I think people might get stuck sometimes in not knowing when they should reach out, or maybe they're not having the success that they want and they think they're doing all the marketing things they're supposed to do, but maybe their messaging isn't saying the right thing, or maybe they're not communicating the right call to action, or it's difficult to put that stuff together. It's not easy. And to actually, my business partner Gordon So and I talk about this all the time. Just because we understand what we're talking about doesn't mean we're expressing it to someone else so that they understand, right? So I think a lot of people in their marketing would put something out there and they understand what it means, but someone who's never heard of them goes and reads it and says, okay, so what? Or what are you trying to ask me here? And they don't get it because the messaging isn't clear. They're not communicating what they want or what they expect that person to do. Right?
So,
and
if I can touch on that, because I'm so glad that you brought that up. One of the biggest things I teach across the board, no matter what, and I help people identify is, in book writing, it's ideal reader. In marketing writing, I help people with the copywriting, for example. It's connecting with their ideal client or their tribe. And so, and in writing in particular, you have to have the you view, and this, right? You make it about the other people, and then you have to find the ways to connect with them. But that's one of the biggest things that I come across with people, is that they have to, like you said, they know the things inside out, but they have to connect with a way that connects with their tribe, with their message. And I love that, because the way that I facilitate and the techniques that we use on that, it's at the surface level, of course, because we're human, we use language to communicate, we use story to communicate, all of that kind of thing. That's marketing, let's call it. Across the board, that works in books too. People connect with people, we use story to share and humanize things. In terms of, though, people's essence, or a brand's essence of who they are, what they emanate, what they radiate, this is on a much deeper level. This is on a I call it soul marketing, really, but it's on a more soulful level, or a subconscious level. So it's the consciousness of the words that we use as humans. And so that's where things can connect. And that's where people, when they connect with that, And then also the language of being human and understanding people's needs, wants as their ideal readers, their ideal clients, their tribe. And then they communicate from that place. That's when things shift, right? Because they're basing it on the you view from the tribe's perspective, so that they're able to connect on that deeper level. And then that's when things open up and things get really magnetic.
Right. And I think a really good example of that would be like in our compilations with Empowering Women to Succeed. And Jenny, you're the editor on 3 books now, which is awesome. So you've already worked with over 30 authors in this series, and now we're adding on another 15 or 20. And, you know, you have a role to play in making sure that their stories fit the theme, but also that they give you the goods, so to speak, right? Because sometimes we think we're expressing, but you use these tools that you've learned and educated yourself on in order to pull more information from people. And you know, all the feedback that we get is that it's such a wonderful experience. You know, that whether it was men or women, because we have men in the book too, you know, that they all enjoyed the process of you going through with them and using those tools to get to the nitty gritty of the message that they need to relay.
Yeah, that's awesome. I a lot of that feedback.
Clip that as a testimonial.
No, thank you for sharing that with me. I've heard that from many of the authors, but you know, that's great to hear. And what I love about that is because the process that people go through to connect with that for themselves, so that they can connect then with their ideal readers, their tribe, their ideal clients, it connects them with a deeper part of themselves, so that they're more human on their own level. They're more of who they are, and then they can share more of who they are, which is probably, my guess, why it's more enjoyable, because who doesn't love to share the realness of themselves, you know?
No, definitely. And, you know, a lot of people are fearful of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're fearful of getting in touch or expressing the true whatever's going on. And of course, we're talking about personal stuff right now because, you know, the book tends to be a lot of personal stuff. There's some business stories. But then on the business level, again, you know, same thing. You can explain how it affects people on a business level.
Yeah. Oh, and they're both connected. And a lot of the people who are sharing both personal stories and the professional stories, they have to get to the heart of who they are in the professional in order to bust through and you know, in the 2 books, like from burnout to victory, to get through to that victory, they've got to figure a lot of things out along the way. And like you said, a lot of people can be scared to share that, whether it is business or personal. But there's a beauty in sharing that, and there's a strength in sharing that. And I love our authors because they, time and time again, even if they're scared, and many of them have opened up to me about, you know, deep fears about, oh my gosh, I'm going to share this with the world. Some people who have never spoken it or shared it with anyone, and now and then they put it in a book.
Right.
But there's such a strength in that, and an empowerment just in that alone, the fact that they're willing to open up, because as we know, it helps a lot of people, but even for themselves, even just for their own, I can't think of the word.
Healing process. It's your own healing process.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, people have lots of reasons to be part of a book, and that's not the topic of the conversation today, but you know, whether it's your own personal healing journey or your desire to help other people. And it's wonderful when people get in touch with you and let you know, but there's so many more people that won't get in touch with you that you've touched their lives, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so true. I mean, we've all watched a video, read a book, read an article and been like, wow, and something in that shifted something for us. And that's what has happened. Like you said, the people we've heard about, which have been many, who have read the stories and just been transformed. And then, like you said, the people who we have no idea, but they've read the book and something has shifted for them too. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you just don't always hear about it. But why is it important, Jenny? Why is it important for people to write about, whether it's on a personal level or a business level? Like, why would they even bother?
That's a great question, because it can be a challenging road, and of course you can be supported on that road too. So why do people do anything? Why do people run a marathon? But in terms of, I think there's an intrinsic value in going for something that you want to do. On the personal level, there's value in writing the book because, and not to get too esoteric, but there really is a call on humanity right now, I think, to play a bigger game and to be more cool and to find, I mean, we all know there's a lot of shit going on. I hope it's okay, I just swore on here. We all know there's a lot of shit that's going on in the world, right?
Yep.
But it's important to write a book because opinions matter. Sharing story matters, and it can change things. Some of the most important books in the world have shaped history in a really positive way. So there's that level of the importance of writing a book. On a more personal level, for people, if they're called to write a book, there's such a value in doing that for themselves. The entire journey of writing a book, I call it a journey because it is that, and it is the process of becoming an author, and their own personal transformation on that journey is enormous. And then they become a greater contribution to the world.
Right.
And that right there is so important. On a business level, it does so many things. It, of course, does all of the things, allows you to be the contribution you're there to be. What it does is it opens doors and allows you to do that on a bigger level, right? Because all of a sudden, your voice matters, your story matters, your insights or information or expertise matters in a way where it can be shared with people, known and unknown, who read that book, right, who you are going to support and help. And from a really tangible perspective, obviously, it helps expand business growth. So it really, it just, if someone's playing here, all of a sudden they're playing at a much higher level, and then a new tribe will magnetize to them, or an expanded tribe will magnetize to them. They've put this out there.
Yeah, and that's all their communication. When you elevate all your communications, whether it's, and people don't even think about this, but you're communicating through your speech, you're communicating through email, through text, through phone calls, through marketing, like different ads that you might create, or emails that you send out, or webinars that you put on, presentations that you do. I mean, I can keep going. There's so many ways we communicate, especially today with the internet and all the social media platforms. What is it that you're putting out there, and how are you putting it out there, and how are you communicating it? It completely represents you as a person and as a business person, and how do you want to represent yourself, right? And if you feel like, English wasn't your favorite subject, or, or your vocabulary isn't so wonderful or whatnot, then maybe you want to seek a professional to help you elevate yourself. And like you said, Jenny, it takes them from, maybe you are already here and now you're reaching up there and even higher just because of the language and communications that you're putting out there. We're constantly evolving, constantly evolving. And I think if you're not evolving, you're not staying with the times.
Yeah.
Right? And you're not elevating yourself either. So I totally agree that, and one piece of advice I always tell people, whether you're creating just an ebook that's not even going to get printed, or, a professional novel or a professional business piece, always, always, always have it edited.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have colleagues who have had it edited and then who have not. And you're right. You want to present yourself in a professional way. And I'm so blessed and grateful that you see the value in that, in working with you on the Empowering Women to Succeed books, because I pride myself on top quality, exceptional editing and that type of thing. And now that doesn't mean that someone whose first language isn't English, or whose English might not be a strong suit per se, can't still communicate effectively and can't still, write. Even to be in a book or to write the marketing copy they need to write and connect with that. Those are skills that can be taught. But like you said, having professional eyes on it as an editor, I think if you're wanting to play at a higher level, of course, that just makes sense, because it's like any service, any product, there's all levels of quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you're representing yourself. So how do you want people to see you? How do you want people to view you? And if you want it to be at the highest level, then have somebody look at your stuff. And I know there's a lot of people out there who think, I'm a great writer. I don't need anyone to look over my stuff. I don't need this and I don't need that. Well, the best of the best have an editor.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
They always have somebody else looking. Just like a doctor has a doctor, a psychiatrist has a psychiatrist. They all understand the value of what they do, and that they need one too. They're not above everybody else, right?
No. You get better too. That's how you get better. Even if you're the best of the best, you're gonna miss something. You're gonna, especially in writing. Always great to have extra eyes on your writing, because someone might see something that you might not see. And like you said, sometimes you can know something inside out and want to communicate it, and you're like, oh, I get this, I'm communicating it. And there are all different ways of communicating too, and people have different ways of understanding, comprehending things.
Right.
We're all amazingly unique. So that's really important too, because you might get an insight of a new perspective, that no matter what the quality of your writing, that insight might say, oh, you know what? I didn't look at it that way. And I didn't think that people might look at it that way. And so, I'm going to consider that and maybe shape it or craft it in a different way. So there's the content of it. And then of course, like you said, proofing, grammar, spelling, that stuff should be, I don't want to shit on people, but it's more professional. It's more going to be polished, and people will receive it better. So they're not going to get caught up in that and say, oh, this is spelled wrong. So they can actually receive what you're giving them, right? Receive the message, receive the story on a deeper level than just, oh, there's all kinds of spelling errors in
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's awesome. Now I understand that you teach some courses to help people like I know some people would just not have the time and just say, you know what, Jenny, I'm going to hire you. You write this for me. That's always an option, right? Whether it's an email, an article, whatever it might be, you know, that's always the option where somebody just says, here's the info, just write it for me. The other option is people who actually want to improve their own writing, right? And you have some courses for that.
I do. And you know what? I really think that there's value in people doing their own messaging. At a certain level of entrepreneur, there's a lot of value in doing your own marketing content. You know, no one knows your products or services like you do, you know, or events, that type of thing. You know, so there is value in that, and so that's what I connect people with. I've got 2 main courses, well, actually 3. A signature course, Unleash the Writer Within, just really is the techniques that connects people with words. And that can be used on a broad spectrum, but that's where we go into the things like the fears, the doubts, and shifting through that so that they can just get to the heart of who they are and allow themselves to let words flow easily. That course is sort of the basis of the other more specific courses that I teach. And that's like the techniques are unique. They connect with that soulful essence and then teach things like craft and technique. And so I've got one book writing course called Become a Published Author. That's 6 months. It takes people through from start to finish, from the book blueprint all the way until that refined draft.
Nice.
So that the book is ready to go, is ready to be published. Like you said, they might want an editor as well on top of that at the end, but we go through all of that, and I support people in that process and in that journey. So they work through connecting with that. And then the other course is a copywriting course. It's more than just learning to write copy, though. It's a strategic way of doing it where it's from the heart of their brand and themselves, if they're a solopreneur, and connecting in with their essence, their tribe, and then going through the phases from website to all of their marketing copy. So whether in an editorial calendar, every piece of communication that is going out to the world goes through a certain process of crafting it and shaping it according to the foundation of their brand. And so it moves through that. And then teaches the craft technique of actually writing them. So few streams that have come from those initial techniques, and they're a lot of fun, and people have gotten great results from it. We've got a new group writing books right now, so I'm pumped for them. Yeah, so that's a way that I like to support people with what I've learned and what I've shared with other people.
Oh, that's awesome. So which of the courses do people get interaction with you? Because I know sometimes we create courses that are strictly online. People will just buy them and then they can go work on their own independently. And then sometimes there's other courses where there might be an online element, but they also get to interact with you as well, or a group or something. Can you give us a little insight?
Yeah, so both of those, so Unleash the Writer Within now is just in digital format. It was a full day live event, but a lot of things have shifted personally and professionally for me. So right now that's not interactive necessarily. You know, I'm online for support in various groups and that type of thing, but that is strictly digital. The copywriting course and the book writing course, both of which have a forum and both of which have live calls. So people can receive feedback and actually get live feedback from me and or coaching, shifting through things they need to shift through, or receiving information so that they understand the content of the course better so that they can dive in and do the work that they need to do. So those two are a combination. A lot of it is sent through video modules. A lot of it's worksheets and people can work on their own time. But then we do have live group calls where people can come together as a community, receive support from me, but also from one another. And people get to meet that way too. So it's quite fun.
Awesome. And, you know, you have quite a story of your own that you share in empowering women to succeed in both the books that we've published so far. And, you know, the journey of, you know, focusing on helping people and getting your message out there, bearing all, so to speak. You don't have to bear all, but you know, I know when, you know, I just want to add to the experience of working with you when we do our calls, because all the authors have calls, and they get on a call with you, Jenny, and they get to go through their chapter, and sometimes they haven't expressed enough, or sometimes they haven't figured out what they were supposed to say or to talk about, or they were kind of hovering on the surface and not really going below that surface. And, you know, sometimes it's like, oh, you know, what do you want me to say? What do you, you know, or people like shift it back onto you and project it onto you. And it's your, you know, you have the job of shifting it right back and saying, you know, whatever you need to say in order to get them to share and to pull that information out. So it's not easy. Like for some people, it's really easy. And for other people, it's really difficult. So having a professional that can really help pull that info is crucial, whether you're writing a business book or a personal book, right? And it's always good having someone to bounce off.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure it is. And I like to think of it too, you know, I come from a place in those calls and in all the calls that I do with people, you know, whether it's from the creative coaching or awakening coaching, but particularly in terms of drawing out story from people and connecting to the heart of it. I like to look at things from a higher view, and as a person hearing and receiving what people are saying, there is from a higher level. And then I like to think of it as just kind of cracking into, like, opening up the sunshine kind of thing. And I love, as I'm saying, the sun is streaming down.
Oh my goodness, it's so hot. I'm melting.
But it really is about, you know, cracking that open. And there's a moment on many of the calls, and sometimes it will take a little bit of time. For some people, like you said, they just wide open,
yeah,
you know, and they get to the heart of it fairly quickly. But often we can't see for ourselves what the heart of what we want to get to is, you know. And so if we're presenting a story, and we've written a story in a certain way, which can be like great, you know, really well written, a great story, all of those things, but it's still surface level. We want something to just break through that. And I love those moments with the authors where they get to the heart of it, because it's very clear at the moment they do. There's ahas that happen, there's sometimes tears that happen, you know, whatever it is, but then it's just a freedom where they can actually just write. And so there's a beauty in that. Yeah, so it's a neat process.
Absolutely. Do you have any examples of businesses that had you help them with some of their communications and how it affected their business?
Yeah, when it's funny you asked that, when I was working with someone who I've now referred to this organization, but they have an online presence, online website, and they do a lot of blogs. And so working with them, we got their editorial calendar built. We had content pumping through with a really refined focus. So one of the things we do in the copywriting course, and what I did working consulting with this company, was get to the heart of their vision, their mission, you know, what their brand is all about. And as we did that, and as we were providing content that connected from that place, they grew. So we had 1 million unique views on their website.
Wow.
It's now up to 2 in the last 6 months. And so, you know, and now they set big goals, and I kind of laughed and said, okay, let's see what we can do with this.
Right.
You know what? With consistency and commitment and a deep connection both to words and the type of messaging that's available, that connects with the right audience. And so that's why that foundation is so important, of understanding tribe, understanding, you know, in marketing, you can call it all kinds of different, like your niche market, all of that. But really just understanding how people want to receive the information you're sharing with them can have huge results just like that. And so
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was exciting, you know, when I got the email and said, okay, we hit the goal. And I laughed at myself, but like I said, consistency and commitment and the connection to that core messaging, it lands it.
Yeah, and the people that have success are very clear in their messaging.
Yeah.
Right? They have very clear calls to action. They have very clear communications and what they want people to do and what kind of action they want them to take, and what their deliverables are, right? And I think when you have that in place, and we're not all marketers, we don't know how to, or even communicators, we don't know how to truly express necessarily what it is we want to get across in order to make people take action, right? We might be able to talk about our businesses. Someone might sit there and, and yawn about it. But how do you do it effectively so that somebody gets excited about it with you and wants to go along the journey with you with your business? So I think that's really, really important for the success of any business. So Jenny, how do people find you in order to find these courses?
They can find me on social media, of course. For the courses directly, they could go directly to my website, which is jennymccaig.com. I'm going to spell it.
I'm going to put it here in the
perfect.
The chat.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, because it's a fun last name, but not the easiest. And then on social media, I'm very active on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter. So that definitely is somewhere that, they can join in the conversation and just even see what I'm all about and connect with me there, because I am actually live, particularly on Facebook and Instagram. I am live on there and Twitter as well. Because, only so much you can do, but
yep.
Yeah, but connecting with me on Facebook is probably one of the best places to find me. And then, of course, info on the courses is on the website. Okay,
perfect. So jennymccaig.com, and you can get all the info there. It's been awesome. Jenny, do you want to add anything?
What would do I want to add anything? I guess if people are thinking that they have a message to share, no matter what they do in order to clarify that, just to go for it. I mean, that's sort of is, I hope that I've provided some value in ways to do that and ways to connect in with those words. But yeah, if people, like we said, there's always a ceiling. And if you can just break through that, it's really powerful. And it personally, professionally, it just creates shifts. So yeah, I just invite people to do that. And to add, thank you, Randy, because it's been fun once I actually got on the Blab and figured out the technical stuff.
No, it's awesome. And Jenny, do you have like one really big tip that could make a big difference in people's communications that you could throw out there?
The tip that's coming to mind, and I think we touched on it briefly, but is to know your tribe. So here's a tip, what people can do. They can write down all of the characteristics, allow themselves just to connect in, take a deep breath, do what they need to do, but really allow themselves to see, know, and feel their tribe and their ideal clients or their ideal writers, and write down actually all of the characteristics of who they are, what they're about, what they care about. All of those things that are really going to allow them to connect with them on a human level. They might even think, okay, where do they hang out? And go to those places and hear then, how do they speak? How do they communicate? What are the things they care about? What's going to connect with them? Because when it's no longer about the person doing the communicating, but it's more about the value that they're providing and the way of connection is huge. So if you get clear on all of that, then things open up and then those people will magnetize. So I really recommend writing it down and starting to pay attention to, and you can even write down, okay, well, I go to that library, and I'm making this up, but I go to that library where those people hang out. What are the things they care about?
Right.
Or that event. What are they talking about? What do they care about? Right? Write those things down too. And then when you're going to your communications, look at that and say, okay, how can I communicate now from a place that's going to connect with them on that level?
That's an excellent tip. I just had a bee land on me. That's a really, really excellent tip, because people don't think about doing that, right? You don't think about getting to know who your audience is and who your target market is. And when you do, like you said, then you can really hone in on the right communication that's going to resonate with them.
Oh, yeah.
You can say what you want until the cows come home. And if it doesn't resonate with somebody, they're not even seeing it. Never mind reading it. They don't even see it, right?
Yeah.
And so I love that tip. That's awesome. And I don't think very many people actually do that.
No, I don't think they do. I think they kind of might think, oh, I kind of know who my tribe is. But
Right.
That's one thing we do in the copywriting course, and they write it all and they get it all out because it's important. And when you do that, it shifts automatically because then you have an awareness. Once you're aware of things, you can't really be unaware of them.
So true. So
yeah.
true. That's awesome. I love that tip. Thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on. It's always a pleasure. And if guys, again, if you girls, please get in touch with Jenny at jennymckaig.com, jennymckaig.com, and you can see her courses there, connect with her there, or on social media, and see how you can elevate your business and bring in more customers and more revenue. So that's awesome. Well, thank you again, Jenny, for being on.
My pleasure.
I know you're busy, and you're also busy growing something as well. And
yes, if anyone else that doesn't, I am pregnant right now. That's why I keep coming my belly.
So you're busy, and we appreciate you taking the time to be on here. So Jenny, is it okay with you if we podcast this as well?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll put this out as a podcast. So if you weren't able to join us live, then please watch the podcast, and please join us for next week. You never know who's going to be on the show. Well, thank you again.
Hey, no problem. Thank you. Ciao.
Have an awesome day.
You too.
Bye.